Hello, Lou Thomas.
Hello, Ash. How are you?
Very good. Welcome to the, what do we call it, the Cockpit.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here.
How good to have you here. We've talked about it for a few weeks now and we've got it up and going. So welcome to the Cockpit. I'm glad you're here and, wow, we've got lots to talk about for an hour, haven't we?
I'm very nervous.
Doesn't matter. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Okay.
So, Lou, I did say to Mandy before, we've known you now for about 30-odd years.
Yep.
How quick's that gone and how much fun have we had along the way with all the nursing girls and all the husbands?
Oh, look, it's just, I don't actually know how to describe it because I reckon it's even longer than 30 years.
Would be.
Because I've been nursing for 43 and Modbury was at the start.
Did Mandy start in 1995-ish, somewhere around there?
Probably. And I was 83 at Modbury. I started there. So we've known each other for a long time and luckily we all still get along very well. Even you boys. You can do a bit of drinking together if you have to.
I think half the fun is having the partners around, isn't it? Yes. So we've all married into the night shifters and the day shifters and
yes.
You know, it's, you know, you always talk about, you know, how hard it is for a shift worker to do the shift. You also got the husbands and the kids as well, you know. That.
And you have to put up with us.
Well, it's a matter of knowing when to say something and when not to say something. I think that's what you learn as a husband anyway.
Correct. Especially after night shift, mate. So, and poor Ian didn't stand a chance because I was on nights for over 30 years. So.
Yeah, no, I think it is a skill. I think you've got to learn it. You might think, oh, hard done by here, but you're better off zipping it. I might go away for 3 days and then answer which must drive her even worse. But rather than say something stupid, because at the time you just think, well, she's tired anyway or he's tired, there's no point going down that road.
Yeah, and you men sort of have to remember it's not about you, it's all about us.
That's what we learned.
And if you can remember that, you'll live a long and happy life.
I think life will go a little bit nicer if it is smoother. Hey, welcome here anyway. It's nice. You're the third female here to come through this institution, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So we've had the first girl was a lady called Liv Trembath. She had some issues with her health. She was from New Zealand and she was up the baseball club when I was up there, and she had lots of issues and still has lots of issues going on. You know, she depends on people's blood and etc., which, you know, this is what we're here for today, just to have a chat about nursing and hospital and all that sort of gear. But, welcome. It's really good to have a female here. It just breaks it up so much more. So
nice.
But
you're probably not used to having champagne in this little studio.
Well, we have got a drink today, haven't we? We've got you can show it to the camera.
I've got my bird in hand. That's my favourite.
All right, let's hold them up together and we can split the screen on it. Hey.
That way.
Not bad. It is after midday on
let's go for
on
it.
Tuesday, isn't it? Cheers.
Cheers to you. Don't tell anyone.
Oh, mum's a word on that one.
Yeah, thanks.
So welcome. Let's dive straight in. Sure. We did say that we'd go straight in and just find out a little bit about Lou, I suppose, where it all started. Whether do you want to start on where you started?
Yeah.
Your training, or
I'll tell you a little bit about my my upbringing. So we lived in a little town called Waterloo, which is on the way towards Burra, and it was a tiny little town, and we owned the general store. So there was mum and my dad and 4 kids, and at the age of 6 my dad just up and left, and so it was mum and 4 kids in the shop.
Wow.
So it was a tough upbringing, and she couldn't leave the shop to take us to our sports and stuff a lot of the time, so we had to rely on people to pick us up, and you know, the house was only small, so us 3 girls were all in one bedroom, and my brother had his own room, which was still very small. But we managed, and I think probably the saddest day for me in that upbringing was the day we walked home from school. Our school had 11 students in it, so it was huge.
Oh, how cool is that?
And it was about a mile up the road. So we walked home from school and we found a sign on the shop door saying closed, and we thought, this is a bit weird. Why is the shop closed? And so we went round through the back, and because the house was built onto the shop,
Mm-hmm.
and found that everything had been repossessed, like all the fridges, freezers, stock.
Oh,
and
no.
everything. So that was pretty heartbreaking, but Mum got it up and going again, and I probably wasn't much help to her back then because us, the older kids, there's only 18 months difference between us older three. My younger sister's 5 years younger. So us older ones had to work in the shop and, serve the customers, and none of us liked doing it, especially in winter, because if you had the spot by the oil heater in front of the TV, that was the spot to be, and no one wanted to get up and serve customers.
Righto.
But anyway, we survived through that. Mum did an amazing job, and then I had a new dad come on the scene when I was about 12, and he's the dad for the rest of my life, so he was pretty awesome.
What's his name?
Jeffrey Leckel.
Yeah.
So
Big shout out to you, mate. Well done for helping that out. That's
So
I never knew that story.
yeah, he had passed away quite a few years ago now, but bless him. He was the only father figure that we ever really knew. So I went to high school at Riverton.
Yes.
And I had two best friends there, Frankie Connell, and we still see each other, not often, but she still lives up in the Clare Valley. And the other girl was Julie Rohde. So Julie Rohde is the reason that I became a nurse, because I went to her house for a holiday. She lived at Tarlee, and she had an older sister who was a nurse, and she did her training at the Women's and Children's Hospital, or Adelaide Children's Hospital. And she was telling me all about it, and she said how she lived in the nurses' home there. And I'm like, oh, what's that like? She goes, oh, it's great. You get a room to yourself, and, you can do whatever you like. I'm like, a room to yourself? I have to share with two sisters. So I decided to become a nurse. I actually wanted to be a primary school teacher. That was my aim in life. That didn't happen. So I applied for the Adelaide Children's Hospital, and I got accepted. I couldn't start there till I was 18. So I moved to Oakbank and stayed with my nana there, and worked at the Lobethal Woolen Mills for 12 months as a mender. And my mum had worked there when she was younger, so because Mum grew up in Gummaraka.
So was that to get you up to 18, was it?
Yeah, just till I turned 18. And
Well, you've slowly moved south, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've gone from the cold of the Clare Valley-ish area, and then you've ended up at, up in the hills there. That's still pretty cool, isn't it?
Pretty cool. So that was interesting, but I was a pretty good mender at the woolen mills, and I got to mend the cloth that goes on pool tables, and that's a pretty tough job because it has to be perfect, because you can't have
nice
your
and
8
flat,
ball
no
going.
ripples.
Yeah, so that was good. So I was there for a year, and then got my single room at the nurses' home at the children's hospital. So I was happy. I didn't even know what a bedpan was. Like, honestly, I had no idea what nursing was.
So that
all
was
about.
on North Terrace, yeah? Is that where the old kids is?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
right.
I did my training there for 4 years. Most of the training back in those years was only 3 years at the adult hospitals, but at the children's hospital you have to do 6 months of adult nursing.
Okay.
And so that is where I met my husband, because he was my first adult patient at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And they said, nurse, can you go and give Mr. Thomas a sponge bath? He's got his arms in plaster and his legs in plaster. And I'm like, what do I wash?
He's probably thinking the same thing. Now, what's she going to wash?
Correct. So, yeah. So I'd seen parts of Ian that you really shouldn't see before you start dating
Well,
somebody.
he's probably lucky he was alive anyway, was he?
Well, yes, he was on his motorbike, and he was hit head-on by a drunk driver, and he died on the road and was resuscitated, but had sustained a lot of injuries right through his body. So
Where was it, Lou?
on Kelly Road.
Yeah, up Modbury area?
Modbury, yeah. Just,
Modbury Heights, maybe?
yeah, like Clovercrest way.
Could be.
Over that way, I don't know. Yeah. So
When was that? Put you on the spot.
1981, I think it was. 1981. So he had been in hospital already for a few weeks before I looked after him. And he had broken tib and fib in his left leg, and his femur was fractured, his pelvis was fractured, his arms were broken, and we discovered years later that his neck was actually fractured as well, but it wasn't found at the time. But years later he had found he had a compression injury, which would have been caused by going through the windscreen of that car. and then 10 or 14 days after his accident, he had a ruptured spleen, so that sent him back again. So he had a splenectomy, and
So they removed that as well, took that one
they
out?
took that out, yeah. And so I did look after him for a while, and there was another lad in the bed alongside Ian who also had, I think he had an amputated leg actually, from a motorbike. And so the boys used to pull the curtains around in the morning and save me Vegemite on toast for breakfast. And so that was really nice. And then they was planning, when we get out of hospital, we'll go on a double date. Ian had a girlfriend back then, and the other guy, Pete, didn't. So we were going to go on a double date. That never, ever happened. But Ian's girlfriend didn't stick with him for whatever reasons. Won't go into that. But when I was finishing up at the Royal Adelaide, my 6 months was up, and I came into the ward and to say goodbye to everybody because I'd transferred to a different ward by then. And Ian said, we're all going over to the pub. Do you want to come for a drink? And he was an outpatient at that stage. So I said, yeah. So the Botanic Hotel was just across the road from the Royal Adelaide. And so we went across there and had some drinks. And then he goes, I've missed my clinic car ride home to Tea Tree Gully.
So you had to take him home?
So I drove him home, and his mum had a steak cooked for me. We had dinner, and so started our relationship. So
how good's that? Isn't that wonderful, It
was wonderful. It wasn't an easy time. Ian was very sick with, he had chronic osteomyelitis infections in his femur and his tibia. So he was in hospital a lot. So I would finish my shift at the Children's Hospital and go back over to the RA to visit him, and he would say, put me in the wheelchair and wheel me out to the Botanic Gardens, and I'm like, no, I'm tired. I've just done, a 7-hour shift, 8-hour shift. He goes, I don't want to stay in the bed here. Take me out. So we never dated, put it that way, really. It was just hospital visits for a long time because he was always in and out.
It was a cheap way of doing it.
Yeah, so I was still living in the nurse's home mostly, but I had moved to Blackwood with two of my girlfriends, Deanna and Sandy, and we rented a house there. So I was basically travelling from North Adelaide, from the hospital to Blackwood, and then to Tea Tree Gully to visit Ian.
God.
So I just kept doing these round trips for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, one good thing now, you're retired from nursing. That's
Yeah.
one good thing.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Probably gives you a little bit more time around the house doing more things. So, but just going back to Ian, I've known Ian as long as I've known you. So the beauty of Ian is when we do eventually hook up together, it's great to sit down and have a few beers together, and he likes his scotch as well, doesn't he?
He does,
So
he's into the whiskey.
it's nice to sit down and have a chat with him, because I thought if war ever broke out, he was the candidate to go with him, because he knew so much. He could make pipes work. He could make anything work. So I've always named him the engineer. So he was always one of those handy fellas that you always had to have around, whatever it was. So
he is a bit handy. Like, I'd come up with a lot of projects for him to do, and he just shakes his head at me. But sometimes it takes a while, but the projects get done eventually.
yeah, well, it's just a matter of trying to do it when you can, so it's not stressful. The whole idea of everything in life, I reckon, is just, it's got to be fun. You've got to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's a chore. A chore's like Mandy cleaning bathrooms, and you know what I mean? That's a chore. No one likes doing that.
No.
But, we'll talk about your girls' cave towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
But, no, he's a good one. He's a cricketer.
And his sorry to interrupt you.
All good.
His injuries never stopped at that one accident. 6 months before we got married, he was a passenger in a car that hit a tree, and he broke both his legs again. So our wedding day, he had one leg taken out of plaster a week before, so he still had one leg in plaster for the wedding, and it was a garden wedding, and so he walked down the so-called aisle, but he threw his crutches down and he hobbled down. So that was pretty interesting. And I'll tell you what, the honeymoon's pretty interesting as well, because we had booked a honeymoon in Fiji, and of course he had an infection in his leg, in his femur, and had his plaster on. So back in those days, you could travel on a plane with, and I'm not lying about this, I had a jar of alcohol and it had my forceps and scissors in it to sterilise them, and I had my ribbon gauze packed and everything so that I could do his dressings while we were on our honeymoon.
Wow, at the Nadi airport in Fiji.
Was so romantic, I'll tell you what. So
That's love, isn't it? That's a commitment.
I keep thinking, like, we've been married, better not get it wrong, I think it's 43 years. I think I deserve another trip to Fiji, actually.
I reckon you should go back to Fiji. Yeah. I know the daughter Caitlin went to Fiji, and I think they all went down to the beach one night and lifted their tops up, and I think the boss of Fiji saw it and said, "I'll have my way with all of you," he said, and I think the girl said, "No, you freaking won't." So
it's funny you said that, because when Ian and I were at the beach in Fiji, he couldn't go swimming, so he said, "I'll find a spot to sit and you go out for a swim." So I had my little bikini on and off I went for a swim, and I start walking back in to the shore and I'm like, "Oh, you bastard." And he goes, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "The only spot on the beach that you want to sit is next to a topless woman and we're on our honeymoon." I'm like, "Seriously?" He goes, "I didn't see her. I'm like, "Yeah, sure you didn't, mate." But
we did a similar thing in Daydream Island. I think we did the honeymoon, might have been 5 years later, and a lady rocked up. She didn't know how to use the jet ski, so she went up to Mandy and said, "Do you mind if I borrow your husband 30 minutes at a time, because that's how I have to hire the jet ski." So she said, "Go for it, I'll keep an eye on you. You know, I can't go too far on the water." But it's funny how it works, isn't it?
It is.
It's great to look back on and laugh. And,
yeah.
And he's just been down to Tassie, hasn't he, on the motorbike?
Yeah, so we've been planning a holiday to Tasmania for quite a long time, and thought that once I had retired that we would get that trip done. We were going to do it on the motorbike several years ago, but we were going with two other couples, and one couple got pregnant and one couple got divorced, so that never worked. And then Ian had his 2 knee replacements done, and so he wasn't riding for a while. But he got the opportunity to do a boys' trip on the motorbikes around Tasmania for 2 weeks, so off he went. So, but he didn't actually see much of the scenery. It was more about just riding and riding and riding through the mountains. He really enjoyed it. But
well, at least you got some idea where not to go back to next time.
Well,
but
that's what he says.
It certainly is one of those places that has an abundance of everything. It's I think they go on about Tassie that they don't want you there. I think they put it down so that you don't go over and see it, because, you know, they've got a Queenstown there. They've got massive hills or almost mountains. I think they might even be over 1,000 metres high, and to see some of the landscapes there is incredible.
Well, Ian reckons
so
we need to go for about 4 weeks or even longer to
take it all
what
in.
You need to see. So it's on the bucket list still. Hopefully we get there.
I think you'll get there. I'm not sure we'll quite get to America together. We did talk about that one. That's
we're going to do Route 66. And
the world's too angry at the moment to go over there. But, to be... I think Tasmania is worth every... if you can get 2 weeks down there, you know. Yeah. The other thing you got to watch down there too, they have the... like the windmill stands, and they got speed cameras on them, and they get you before you realise what it is. You're looking out the window and you can see this white tower, and then you go, look at your speed, 110, thank God, you know, you're not speeding. But you got to look for that. But the scenery, the west coast is cold, the east coast is warm. It's got that the Mediterranean feel, sort of like the east coast of Australia there. It's a lot more warmer on the east coast. And it's really a surf nectar there, because it's ocean. You know, in Adelaide we don't really get those oceans except for Victor Harbour area. But what a good place. I could go down there, and I don't know whether you could live there, but you could certainly spend weeks or a month at a time, go down and see one spot, and then, you know, come back home, and then go back another year and do something else. And you know, you've got all that southeast down there, you know, where the shootings were and all that, and you've got so much. There's just so much to see. Yeah. It's a big island, isn't it?
Yeah, we just have to plan it. We just have to actually book it in.
We'll come down with you. I'd love to go back there again.
Cool.
I hope we do go back there again.
Yeah, be nice.
But no, it's good stuff. let's wander off now a little bit away from. Good to talk about Ian and catch him up. He's a wonder bloke.
That's enough
and
about him. Don't need to talk about him too much.
I'm sure you'll come back into it another few times anyway, mate.
Probably.
But let's go back to. I did speak to Mandy to see whether I could use the word, but if we look at the Modbury Hospital nursing years, you were on the paediatrics ward there, the kids ward.
Probably
four East, was
Four
it?
East, probably the best decision I ever made, and I guess that half of that's got to do with Ian because he was living at Tea Tree Gully, so it was just easier to get a job at Modbury. So, and I had to rotate through a couple of wards before I could stay on the children's ward, but that only took a year. So, and then I just fell in love with the ward. I fell in love with the job, and I fell in love with the people I work with. And then fell in love with some of the patients, in not that way, but lovely to look after. So, and those nurses from right back then, we're still friends and we still go out. So, years ago, even the boss, like Jean Steele, she's in her 80s, she still comes out to dinner with us. So it's just family. And the paediatricians,
Israel,
Tony Israel, David Corliss, Alan McKinnon has passed away now.
Oh, has he? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Is Dave still going?
Yep. I'm not sure. He just retired though. He's been retired for a long time. So.
Yeah, right. And Judy Yench. I got it right, Mandy. I got it right.
I can tell you, Ash wants to call her Judy Dench.
Yeah, I love James Bond, so I do repeat it. And she does look like my old past mum. So,
but these paediatricians, they were always there, and they always made us nurses feel, I guess, special and important in that they trusted us. They all got to know us. It was like a big family. So they would say, if you're ever worried about any of the kids overnight or even during the day, but they were there during the day. So, but you can just ring us at home. It doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And quite often the doctor that was on call overnight from ED would come up and see the kids, but the paediatricians wanted to talk to the nurses rather than those doctors because they knew what our skill level was, and they trusted us and our judgment. And I don't think you get that in any other hospital because you don't have the same intimacy, I suppose is the word, with those specialists because we were working with them.
I think it was very special to have that clique group of all the girls, and I think all us blokes used to call them the girls at Modbury Hospital. Yeah. How lucky to have that fraternity of person, let alone female, available to work most nights, and for 20-odd years that ward was open. Yeah. When it did eventually, for whatever reason, we won't go there, got shut down, it was devastating to lose that quality of person that was available to work night shift to look after sick people.
Yes. So
that was the nasty bit when it got shut down because all those girls then got separated out. Some, you and Mandy got a little bit of time together, but that whole group got split up. But
it was pretty much split up in half. So half stayed at Modbury and nursed adults, and the other half went to Lowell Mac so that we could still nurse children. So that was our options. Yeah. So
no, I think going back to the paediatric doctors as well is that even those Christmas shows we used to go to, you'd sit around Dave's chin and listen to his stories about his adventures that he'd do in Tasmania or wherever he'd go fishing or
and how many paediatricians or specialists would do that with nursing staff? Like
exactly.
It doesn't, and nursing staff and their partners. It's like it was a huge family.
It was, and we
all look after each other. If anyone's going through a bad time, they're all there for you. Like always, you can just count on them always.
Well, I think it's just fantastic too that you still get your dinners, every 2 to 3, 4 weeks or whatever it is on a Monday or Tuesday night. That's forever, isn't it? That's that desire to have that friendship, which is just it's rare to get that quality, and you'll never get that again. That's that group of girls and boys now will stay forever. There'll be a few new ones come in and out, but
Yeah.
the old ones will stick, won't they?
I think so. Even like when we moved to Lowell Mac, Mandy and I were still on night shift, so that was pretty awesome. We didn't always get to work together, but we did occasionally, so that was nice. And the night girls over there, I think, we struck up a pretty good relationship with them too. Not quite the same with the doctors over there because they would chop and change all the time, I suppose. But there was two other doctors paediatricians from Modbury. There was Josie and Marinella, and we saw them at Lowell Mac, so that was nice to have that continuation.
What about going back to the paediatric doctors? One question I did have was, they're probably all different, but all similar ilk.
Yeah.
Do you want to with Tony Israel? Was he specialised at something different to the others, or?
I'm not really sure.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, the other girls would probably know the answers to that. Tony Israel was really good. I never wanted to get on his wrong side, but I think he just made me learn to stand up for myself a little bit. And
good, made you stronger.
Yeah, I think so. Dave Corliss was just always fun, and he was the paediatrician for my girls, so he was just fun. Alan McKinnon, he was just the grandfather, and I have to say one thing he told us to do when we had to measure someone's poo, measure it like, was it a teacup or half a teacup? I'm like, seriously, I don't ever want to drink a cup of tea again.
It's a funny measurement.
It is a funny measurement, but, he had to know the facts. But he was just like, I don't even know how to describe him. He just made all the parents and the children feel at ease, and he certainly looked after the parents as well as he did the children. He had a beautiful bedside manner.
Wow.
So,
what about Judy?
Judy was great. I didn't have heaps to do with Judy. I guess we were just on different nights when she was on call.
Okay.
But another beautiful, beautiful paediatrician, so can't fault her.
Yeah, well, just before we close up on the nursing sort of stuff there, like we look at all the gang that we've hanged around with.
Yeah.
My camera's gone off. Keep talking.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. Oh, how's that? So all the girls that were in our group?
Yes.
You want me to list them off?
Well, let's quickly go through it.
Yeah.
Hopefully my camera... Yeah, here we go. We're back on again. Sorry about that. It does get a bit hot from time to time and it does shut off. So this shoestring podcast we do, we've got to put up with the bullshit as well. Let's start with some of the names there. I don't want to read it off. I'll read...
Oh, I can list them off.
Yeah, you go for it.
So the matriarch is Jean Steele. She was our leader. And back in the early days, there was Maureen DaCosta. Unfortunately, she passed away with cancer many years ago. Sandy Mack, she was one of the original girls. There was Dawn, Sarah, Susan O'Rourke, Mandy, of course, Ali, Ashley, Heather. Did I say Ali?
Yes.
And Marianne Lambert and Jane Sweetlove, they were there right back then.
Wow.
I remember Jane Sweetlove helping grab me a vomit bowl when I was having morning sickness with pregnancy with the girls. So I think I listed most of them.
Yeah, I think you did very well then. I think you got most of them. The blokes, I can come back with Louis. Louis's an easy one to remember.
Carlo. Dawn's Carlo.
Carlo. We've also got Richard with Heather.
Yeah.
I remember him. Yeah, Terry. I remember him from school, Richard. So Terry with Sarah.
Susan and John.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just happy. They're just a happy couple.
They're still travelling around, aren't they? Did
Yes,
they get a caravan or something?
Yeah, they got a camper van and off they go.
How good's that?
They look after all the national parks in the state.
All right. They make sure they're all the toilets are working. How good's that? Oh, that's good. All right. Well, what a great time of life that was. I think it's just brilliant that you had it. We've still got it, and it just goes on every 3 weeks. You go out for dinner somewhere at a different pub. I tip my cap to that. I reckon that's what it's about. That's that fun thing we keep talking about.
So So it's interesting going back like to the beginning. Can I mention the young lad that I had looked after that really changed my outlook on life? And his name was Greg.
Yes.
And he had cystic fibrosis.
Was lucky enough to meet him, yep.
Yeah, so I met him when I reckon he was around about the age of 8. And I knew him for the rest of his life. And he just formed a very special bond with me. I don't know how it happened, but we just clicked with each other and got on really well. Well, he was just the biggest scallywag when he was a kid. And I don't know, I just could not say no to this boy. Like a lot of cystic kids, a lot of nurses think they're just spoilt, rotten kids, but you actually have to stop and think about their life and put your shoes in those of their parents that have to look after these kids and leave them at the hospital for such a long time. I mean, the care of cystic fibrosis is very different now to what it was back then. But Greg was the light of my life when I went to work, and he was in hospital an awful lot, and, you know, he was sick. But he used to do things to me, because I mostly work night duty, and he would do things to me like he would put sticky tape across the doorway, and, of course, the lights were all off. And back in those days, we wore a white uniform, a white dress and stockings. And so I would walk into his room and the sticky tape would stick to my stockings and I would almost fall over every time because he did it about knee height and he was a shocker. And as I would be falling to the ground, he would be jumping out of bed with his 20 ml syringe, which he had grabbed from the cupboard. And he goes to the tap and fills it up with water and he squirts the shit out of you. So not only are you on the floor with sticky tape, but you're getting drowned as well.
What a personality to have around, huh?
Oh, he used to get little bags of sugar, like when the tea and coffee trolley came round. And he would just walk down the corridor and you wouldn't know he's doing it, but he's actually opened the packet and he's sprinkling the sugar down the passage. And you'd be following him and you're going, what is that under my shoe? And he would...
For such a sick boy, too, to have that personality of fun. And
I couldn't get angry at him. But there was a time when he was a little bit older, still at Modbury, and he was always nursed in a side room for infection risks and stuff. Well, his dad would come and say goodnight. His mum would be there during the day and his dad would come in the evening. And when his dad left, they had their little ritual and Greg would go straight to the window of his room. His dad would leave the hospital, get in his car and drive over to Tea Tree Plaza, and he would park his car facing Greg's window, and then they did Morse code to each other. So
is that right through the glass?
Greg would grab the blind, the cord blind, and open and shut the blinds, and Trev would flash the lights on the car. And this could go on for 10 minutes or 20 minutes until Greg would shut the blinds, and then Trev knew that Greg was fine. And
isn't that amazing?
And I could not ever say, Greg, I've got to do your physio. Come on, I need to do this. I just couldn't. I just had to.
You'd say, Dad, I've got to go. He'd shut the window, open and close the curtains up.
Really, you need the parents to know and feel comfortable that they're leaving their children in safe hands and that they're going to be looked after.
The best hands.
And that was really important to me, and I know it was really important to them as well.
Yeah, I remember the day when Mandy came home and said that Greg had passed, so took a bit out of you?
It did. Like, he had 2 double lung transplants. I can't quite remember the years now, but they were a year and a half apart. So after his first double lung transplant, I met up with his mum and we were having a coffee, and in the next minute Greg walked in to the coffee shop and he was wearing a Superman t-shirt, and I didn't know he was coming. So this was just after his transplant, and he was looking amazing, and I'm like, you are really a Superman, Greg. And he was running up Anstey Hill and like living the life. So I made him a cake because we had a party for him, and I made him a cake, and it was his shoe, his Nike shoe, I think it was. So I made the cake look like a shoe, and he was wrapped, but he goes, where's the other one? I'm like, oh, you want 2 shoes? God, you're a greedy boy.
Yeah,
but that
walk around in circles.
That transplant only lasted 11 months, but it was the best 11 months he'd had for most of his life.
Wow.
And then he had the second transplant, and he had a lot of other issues after that, unfortunately.
Has that illness got any further with the way they treat it now? Or?
Well, he got to the age of 39, almost 40, but now there's so many new treatments, new things available that are prolonging the life of CF kids into their 40s up to even 50s and possibly close to 60.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so things are changing. The drugs, I just wish they were available back then. But
it's always the case, isn't it? You know, it's the ones that miss out by years, and you just think, wow, if that technology was around. Look, his spirit lives on, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, it lives on in you, and
yes.
you know, the part of you getting up every day is to keep his story going.
He was in hospital once. He was at the RA, and I didn't know he was in hospital at that time. And our daughter Ash had been admitted to the burns unit. She had burns to her face from a workplace incident.
Yep.
And Ian and I were sitting in the waiting room waiting to go in and see Ash, and Greg comes, poked his head around the corner. He used to wear this beanie. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he goes, I saw it on the news that Ash was in hospital. And so he sat with us, and I'm like, oh, my God, mate, you know, that's awesome. Well, what I didn't know was a few days later he went in to visit Ashley a couple of times, and he gave her his meal vouchers because he goes, don't eat the food, it's shit. So he gave her his meal vouchers so that she could eat nice food. So, you know, he
what a heart of
thinks
gold,
of
huh?
everybody else. I just love that boy to pieces.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It's a pity we couldn't have got him on here, and we could keep his story going.
He'd tell you some stories, I tell you.
Wow, how wonderful!
Yeah.
Have you got any more that sticks out in those 40 years of nursing?
Oh man, not that anything's coming to the top of my head right now.
That's all right. I'll put you on the spot, not deliberately,
Yeah.
but no, that's just. We'll close off from here shortly, but. In closing, what a wonderful time we're still having with that group of people, and to be a part of it. Once again, we're not going to get another shot at it like that, and to see these people, time is no barrier. You know, I spoke to Louis today and said, Casey's on the podcast today, and I said, Lou's on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I'll be watching it tonight, he said. So,
do you know what? All those nurses, they helped me bring up my beautiful girls, my twin girls, because we had to go through IVF to get them. So we went through 3 IVF treatments and 7 embryo transplants. We had 55 eggs that were retrieved, and 35 were fertilised. 19 survived the thaw, and only 2 worked. So, and we got the twins. So
isn't that incredible?
Yeah, so that was a long journey, but you know, all the 4 East nurses, they helped me through all that, and Maureen DeCosta used to give me my hormone injections when I was on nights. So, yeah, bless them.
You sort of take it for granted. There's a lot of people just get pregnant and have these babies, don't they? And then you look at yourself and you look at us as well. You think, God, what a journey just to get one out. You know, I remember a photo at the hospital on Prospect Road, might have been Prospect Hospital, where we finally got one, which was Caitlin in 97, and I was as pale as a ghost. I was just, and I hadn't done anything. All I had to do was sit there and stress, and to get that one out, and you go, oh God, you know, I'm not a religious man, but you know, I think I'd called on him that day for a little bit of help. But what a journey! It's fantastic to just be a part of it. So, Lou, we're going to move on to your girl cave. You've got a girl cave. You're living up in
a girl cave, but it's my she shed.
Oh, she shed. I got it wrong. I did say to Mandy that I did want to bring it up, and you're up in the hills. We don't need to say exactly where it is, but it's up the back there, just to the east of Tea Tree Gully, I suppose. And you've been working on this for a decade or more.
Yeah, I started the shed in 2020, I think. So my eldest grandson, well, the first grandson, he was only 2. And he actually got the post hole digger, and he was helping Nana.
All right, he cut
dig
her
holes.
first.
But when Ian came out to check, of course, Nana had put the holes in the wrong spot, so we had to dig them all again. But
That's the engineer, Ian.
Yeah,
That's
but I sort of like my sister was the one who inspired me to have a she shed. She had a very small shed that she just kept rusty things in, because growing up in the country, we like barbed wire. We just like rusty old things. We just like it.
rustier the better.
Yes. But I had the space to build a bigger shed, so she calls it the Taj Mahal compared to hers. But she was the inspiration, and she helped me build some of the pallet shelving that I've got in it and stuff. But the front of my she shed, Ian couldn't really understand what my thoughts were, but we had a big windmill fan in the paddock. It was just laying on the ground, and I said, I want this standing upright at the front of my shed. So the windmill took me right back to my childhood, where Mum, on her own with the 4 kids, our water supply was across the road.
From the windmill?
Yeah. So Mum had to go across, and on the windy days she had to climb up the windmill and turn it off. And we weren't allowed to go with her because of the danger of it. And
what was your mum's name?
Faye.
Faye.
She was just a beautiful lady.
Wow, what a toughie.
Yeah, she was tough. It's really sad because Mum was just she just retired. She was working at Burra then, because when Mum and Dad got married, they went to live at...
Where's that? Harndorf, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mum used to work at Burra, but I forgot what I was going to say now.
Doesn't matter?
Yeah. She was just a trooper, but when she retired, she got Alzheimer's, and she only lived for another 5 years after that, so she died at 73. So, but the memory of Mum climbing up this windmill, and I said to Ian, she was just the bravest person I can think of. Like, she just had to run the shop.
I bet you never heard her complain once either.
She didn't. She had no choice.
No,
so the windmill had to be like front and centre of my shed, because that was just Mum. So, and Ian sort of like, but once he actually, and I have to say, the windmill, all the blades were bent and buckled, so he had to take every blade off and straighten it before the fan could go up.
Did he? Who straightened them up?
He did it.
Ian.
He did it all.
Did he heat them all up and just
banged
became
the shit
a
out of
blacksmith?
Yes, pretty much. So, but once the windmill fan was up on the shed, he goes, "Oh yeah, looks good, doesn't it?" I'm like, yeah.
Mum's right.
Yeah. So he did the construction part of it. I did all the paving and stuff and the digging and whatever inside.
And you've got a dry bedrock going down
creek,
through that as well. Does that run also during winter?
No. It only runs in winter. So the first part of the creek I did when I was 40, and I was a bit stronger back then. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And so the creek sort of started at the fence line, but then I moved the fence. And so I had to start digging again, but I was 60 by then, so it was a little bit tougher. But I was just making the creek where the natural waterway was from the paddock when we had the winter runoff. So, yeah, the creek runs in winter and runs straight down to the dam.
Did you also do was there a glass bottle?
Oh, so just recently...
am I cutting in too early?
No, that's fine. Just recently, in 20... Oh, no. Only last year. I saw this picture on Pinterest, and I call it my wine bottle sculpture, and it's absolutely massive. And I had to actually call on all my nursing friends because I needed 80 empty bottles of wine, like wine bottles. So, of course, all my nursing friends obliged quite easily.
It wouldn't have been hard for them. You wouldn't have had to twist their arm too hard.
No, I got given way too many bottles, I can tell you that. So this structure has got 80 wine bottles on it, and it didn't really cost me anything. My brother-in-law got me some scrap Rio rod, and Ian can weld, so he welded all the upright structures, and my friends drank all the wine. And the timber frame around it we just had in the paddock. So it really, all it cost was a couple of bags of cement to hold it in, because the structure is huge. It's like way taller than me. Like, it's big. But I love it. The hardest part of that was walking around my garden and trying to decide where it would fit and where it would look good. But Ian's made a lot of stuff for me for the garden. He's done a big garden swing and a few arbours, one in memory of my mum. There's lots of things in my garden that are memories of his mum, my mum. both our dads. So they're in my garden all the time.
I think probably one of the trades I think's most valuable out of all of them, even let alone the electricians and the plumbers. I think if you can weld your worlds apart from everybody else, boom, boom. But it's just one of those trades. If you need to quickly knock something up, you know, if you're a carpenter, you'll do it in timber. You know, it's heavy, it takes a long time. You know, get the welder out and weld it up. Steel's hard as hell, isn't it? Yes. So, and it, you know, bag of concrete in the ground, finish. You know, it's all done. So
he also made for me. I've got a folder of pictures that I tear out of magazines that I've had these for years, and they're just my inspo pictures. But one was a little suspension bridge. And for years I wanted this bridge put on the creek. And so a couple of years ago I said to Ian, we need to build this now while our grandsons are little, because if we leave it too late, then they're going to be too old to enjoy the fun of it. So that was easy to make but expensive, because we had to buy the timber and the chain and the nuts and the bolts and stuff. But it was easy to assemble. So once the wobbly bridge was done, and the boys absolutely love it, I said, I think we need a secret tunnel to Nana's shed. And he goes, what are you talking about? So I had these two ginormous metal rings, and we had a lot of pallets, timber pallets, and so we just pulled them apart. And it basically, to describe it, it looks like a giant wine barrel, but it's big enough that the boys can go through it. So there's a bell on either side of the tunnel. So when they enter the tunnel, they have to ring the bell so that Nana knows they're coming to her shed.
They put their white tag on the wall so in case of a cave-in.
So, and there's a bell at the exit end of the tunnel. So, and then at when they get to my shed, there's another bell there. But the grandkids, look, I think they really love my garden, and I think they love my shed. There's an old vintage swing there. There's noughts and crosses that the boys and I painted to look like bees and ladybugs. There's lots of old memorabilia in my shed, like the old telephone. I'm like, you know, if you want to ring Nana, when Nana was a little girl, their number was 257, and they have to dial the number. But I just wanted to teach them that, you know, the mobile phone that you hold up to your ear now is not like Nana used to have. So there's lots of things in the cupboard, in the shed.
How wonderful the grandkids have got Nan's place to go to and have all those. Isn't it so good too to take them back to simplistic? They're not on their iPads. They're actually living out in the paddock and just seeing, you know, wow, look at this. Yes. This turns, and, you know, you go around the other side, I can see your shadow in the bottle. Lou, we're getting up around the 50-minute mark. We've got to bring up the Lulu Belle cakes.
Oh, yeah, man.
Can we breach into that? There's a whole load of photos, obviously, that I've downloaded that will come at the end of the podcast. Yep. I'll make sure that everyone gets to see as many as those.
Cool.
Are you a cake artist? Is that how we...
I started, Sandy Mack actually, see, it all goes back to nursing. Sandy Mack said to me one night at work, TAFE are offering a course on cake decorating. You should do it.
You did do a course through TAFE?
Yeah, I did a couple. I did several. But I said to Sandy, are you going to do it with me? She goes, no. So I had to do it on my own. So I did TAFE, and my first TAFE teacher was Christina Datillo, and she's the one who absolutely inspired me to keep going. Bless her. Thanks, Chris. Like, it's just amazing. And I've had a few other TAFE teachers. Helen Pumper taught me all my fondant work. Janet O'Sullivan, who used to own the Cupcake Lady. I did a lot of courses with her. And then I finally got brave enough to go to Sydney twice, and I did 2 courses with Planet Cake over there. And then I still have courses every now and again with interstate people.
There's wedding cakes. There's,
I do a few wedding
I remember being in the back with Ian in the back of the Ford holding the cake there,
so yes,
so it wouldn't spill over. But
I did my daughter's wedding cake, and it was 5 tiers. But what I didn't do was actually measure the height of the back of my car to see if it would fit in. And I swear it probably only fitted in by a centimetre. But yes, thanks for travelling it, and thanks for getting it there in one piece. But yeah, I love my cake decorating.
We got there, didn't we? Thank goodness.
I get a lot of challenges with the cakes, and I'll just say, oh yeah, I can do that, and then I panic. Ian calls it
It doesn't stress out through the cake at the end, though, does it? You know, like the way they're presented, they're fantastic. They're almost like a comic book. They're that good. You know, they're just fantastic to see them.
Ian calls me a not-for-profit organisation. But, that's how it is. I'm not out there to make lots of money off my cakes. I do it because I love doing it and I like making people happy.
That's key. You do that all the time. You've done that all your life. I think it's to see the quality of the cake, so it doesn't matter what the theatre is or whatever the scene is or whatever. It's top shelf, Thank you. Is some of the stuff printed with a
edible images.
Okay, there you go.
Edible images. That's a big thing. A lot of people want actual handmade figurines. That's always a challenge, and it's always very time consuming.
You'll be 3D printing images soon, will you?
Mate, you know me. I don't like technology, so I get my daughter to do all of that kind of stuff for me. She helps me a lot. Thank goodness.
Yes, I think the 3D's on the way. I don't think we can hold that back now. Wherever you go now to just update some of the stuff in the podcast room here. You go to these places just to grab a cable now. Now they've got 3D printers that are sort of 800 wide printing whatever you want. So it's pretty crazy.
Well,
but
recently I've had a few cake orders and the pictures are done with AI. And I'm like, you want me to make that, but that picture is AI. It's like, I'll try.
Yeah, it's
unreal.
unreal.
I'll try and make it look like that.
It is unreal, though, where it's gone to and where it's going. Like, you think in the next 10 years, people are still going to eat cakes, aren't they? I
hope they do.
I think you'll always have work.
Yes.
The quality of them are good.
I hope so. I've had a really, really busy start to the year, really busy for me. So
can you believe it's already the first week of May? It's Mother's Day this Sunday. What do you got Mother's Day coming up?
Well, I'm having surgery on my foot
on
Thursday. So Mother's Day for me, I'll have
You'll
my leg
pampered.
up and hopefully, everyone will look after me. So I won't be doing cakes for a couple of weeks, but I'll be back before the end of the month. Just
in closing down your cake, we're getting up there now.
Yep.
The gingerbread houses that we all buy, I'll get an image up there as well after the podcast, but they come with lights on, they come with lights in the gardens. We all eat and smash this thing to pieces over Christmas time and New Year's.
I love making the gingerbread houses. They are very, they're time consuming to make because I make so many of them. But it just brings me so much joy when people collect the gingerbread houses and they're going, oh, we're so excited, and it's all the little people have got the names of the grandchildren on it, and there's lights inside. And
I love it when we break it all down eventually and we put it into containers. And I say to Manny, I've got the gate out the front. I'm eating the gate. Oh, that's all right. I ate the light the other night.
Yeah, some people want their dogs on there. It all happens. So.
All right, Lou, we're going to get close to the end. I said I'd have one question for you. Okay. You're a wife. You're a nana, you're a nurse, you're also just not only that, you're a beautiful person. I want you to round up the years that you've been living now. What does it all represent, your time here on Earth, in regards to rounding it up quickly it's a roundabout question that I've given you. What makes Lou today?
I think the most important thing for me is I always wanted to have children. And
family?
I wanted to have 4 kids. I didn't quite get there, but my girls mean the world to me, and my grandsons, I can't say even more, but they're just so special in that I couldn't live without them in my life. I just love them to pieces. I can't get enough of them. But
and Ian, the partnership?
Yeah, well, I couldn't do it without him. He helps me through everything. And I know he just
brought
goes,
the glue, I think, didn't he?
But yes, I think so. Yes, so holds it all together. But
Yes, it goes so quickly, doesn't it? It's here we are now, 60 plus, and you think, wow, how lucky are we though that we've had not only the ability to have children and whatever the struggle was or whatever, doesn't really matter. We haven't got the grandkids yet. That's our next chapter.
It'll come.
And it will come with a rush. So we can just keep that one a bay for a little bit. But what an absolute joy life's been, and looking at what your journey has been, I commend you for the amount of time that you put into not yourself, but everybody else. And it takes a very special person to be that, and a selfless person. And I tip my cap.
Bless you.
Lou Thomas, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
I know time's very valuable, and love you to death. Thank you so much for
Love you too.
doing the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Okay. See you, Dale.